Yo, I don't know if Bruce is on yet, but look at this that my wife just got. Ashtray, and it'll hold your thing, and you just tip it, and then boom, right back. Oops, I broke it.
It's okay. It just falls in the slot.
Awesome, that's dope. Oh, let's see, where am I at? Okay. Um. What is going on, everybody? Mario here, Infighting FX, Infighting Exchange, right here on YouTube, X, and IG. And listen, we got a great show, not a long show, about an hour, maybe. Actually, would love to be done within the hour. I am golfing, or just gonna go get some practice in. I got a big game on Sunday. Let me tell you guys, North Shore used to be a private golf place. I've only ever played it once in my life because they don't take filthy Mexicans. No, I'm just kidding. That's not true. I mean, that used to be the rumor, but no, that was never true. But anyway, we're going to go play on Sunday. So we have the tee time book. The only thing that sucks is like $85 fucking dollars to play, dude. It's crazy work. Crazy work. This is why I hate golf and baseball today. I mean, I don't hate them. I love golf, obviously. And baseball is like my forever passion sport that I actually played at a fairly high level. And I can tell you that like both of those things I dislike today. And I can tell you this is probably why God never gave me a kid, and specifically a son, but also a daughter, because I would have, been badass at coaching softball. But the thing is that they're like have become like elitist sports. Well, golf, you could argue, has always been an elitist sport. But it's like double down on it versus baseball, which is becoming an elitist sport at the kids levels. It's like if you can't afford to keep up with, like tournament play and select ball, it's like you get left behind or whatever, and then I went to Dick's, dude, the like crazy stuff. Let me actually show y'all real quick before we get into the fucking meat and potatoes of all this. Check this out. I was at Dick's yesterday, and I want to show y'all. I was getting some golf balls. I want to show y'all real quick. Like, dude, this is like the kind of stuff that they sell now. Like back when I was a kid, yes, there were bats, there were gloves, there were tons of stuff that you could buy and purchase. But the amount of money that all this stuff costs now, based on like specialty colors, based on specialty items, it is actually super crazy, dude. Super crazy. Look at this stuff. Are like high level wood. And again, that's great. That is super great. But the problem when you create nothing but these sorts of options is that there are no other options that a kid can use and play without being completely identified as someone who might not have the money, family might not have the money, or a family who's, has a dad like I would be and say, no, I'm not going to buy you these fucking cotton candy colors simply because you want to fit in. You should be the kid that's doing the things that start the trend. That sounds psychotic, but I'm just saying at the end of the day, I would never, ever, you know what I would love? I cannot wait. I cannot wait for the next like 25 years and for there to be an MLB player who comes out and he's like one of the top 5, top 10 pound for pound best players in the world. And they're like, oh, so you went through like the select ball and how many all-stars did you make and blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I played league ball. My dad would just take me out every week. He didn't put a super ton of pressure on me and he made the practices fun. So I got better just naturally. And so, yeah, no, we didn't spend $100,000 on bullshit in baseball because, there's a social component to it, and it existed back then when I was a kid too, but they're expensive, badass, like $200 to $300 bats, which that's all they costed back then. Today, they're like 400. There's some that was even 500. There was only like one kid, 2 kids that had it. Right. And usually if you were on like a team, the parents would say, you're not allowed, like, don't let anyone else use your bat. right? And parents are so stupid. Like, what is going to lose the pop? Or are you scared that your son's going to hit so many fucking dingers that the pop's just going to go? Like, don't let them use your bat. Like, eat a dick. How about that? But I'm not gonna lie, they're fire. Like, look at this thing. I swung this thing a 31. That was another thing. There's so many 31s and 32s now. You know, I'm not gonna get into this whole back in my day thing, but back in my day, we fucking swung a 33 and we had the balls to do it. That said, these are fucking the bomb bats, dude. I mean, look at these. These are beepa hitters, bro. You don't know what a beep right there. Oh yeah, bro. These are sick, sick, bro. How much they cost? Like fucking $200 for a wood bat that's gonna break for sure. This now, for y'all don't know, I'm a lefty. This is like the fire ass first baseman mitt. It's so sick, dude. It's so sick. I cannot wait to be a millionaire and then afford to like get these badass. And like I have no reason to buy a first base mitt, right? Like none. I went my first like 25 years of my life where my first baseman mitt was like the most important accessory to me. And now I don't even have one. And I want one, and I want it to look like one of those gloves. I don't love these. The like, they kind of look like chrome, like multicolored. They actually look really cheap. Now, this one is fire, dude. Oh my God. There was another like pitcher one or whatever. Champ, shout out to Machine Gun Matt. Oh, thank God, Matt's there. Oh, Matt, I forgot to send the fucking thing. Are you cool if I just send it to the chat so that way it doesn't take as long? Let's do that. All right, guys. So if you have not seen the board, if you're only on audio right now, I will walk you through what we are going to be talking about. Again, this is going to be like an hour-long show. I got Matt. I got a couple other people scheduled to come on for 5 to 15-minute segments. So about 4 or 5 topics today. The big topic that we're going to talk about is the news that Roman Reigns has Matt, I'm sending it to the YouTube chat right now. Only Matt's allowed on unless Mex is there too. Or Abe or Bruce or any of the mods. So listen, this is what is going on right now. There is a rumor, and it's still a rumor. I need people to understand because people keep talking about confirm this, confirm that. There's a rumor that Roman Reigns will indeed be fighting someone from AAA, right? Because Matt, we went on Matt's show yesterday. Shout out to Machine Gun Matt. Shout out to Talk About Radio with Matt Garces. Absolutely great show that you should go and check out from yesterday. He had Abe on. We were talking Brock Lesnar, the breaking news as it relates to Brock Lesnar retiring. And we talked about it. Like, are the Betos going to fight the Bloodline, which would probably be like the most WWE thing that you could do. I think a lot of people are thinking. No, it seems like they're going to go with a tournament to crown the person that will face Roman Reigns. Now, you'll remember there was a John Cena style tournament to crown the last one, right? And there was an aspect to that did really big business, right? Because these single matches that happen weekly on WWE TV had stakes, right? So, like, think about this. Javon Evans faced Ethan Page this past week, right? The week before that, Ethan Page, I think, pinned Rey Mysterio, and Javon Evans pinned Rusev. So then they have this match, and Javon Evans pins Ethan Page, and then Big Cass debuts, right? And that's all fine and well, but it's like, if any of those matches could have been for like something, and in this case to face Roman Reigns, it automatically adds stakes to the situation. Okay. It automatically adds stakes to each one of those matches. And sure, maybe you get to a point in the tournament where you're like, oh, I didn't want to see fucking Gunther. Fine. But at the end of the day, you are doing better business than you would have been if you were just booking single matches. And the John Cena tournament, you know that a big part of that, yes, was based on the big business that they did with John Cena. But the idea stemmed from what he ended up doing. Again, a tournament to face him and putting on younger talent in NXT and WWE in a situation where they could be showcased on the show, which would be his final show, and thus giving them the rub simply by being on that card. Now, they're looking to do the same things. They're looking to accomplish the same things, right? And so we're going to talk about it. Hold on. Where are we? Shit. Okay. So, we have a situation here where these guys are, I think, trying to ultimately get the biggest match possible, right? So at first we were thinking, what sort of WWE thing could they do to basically promote both brands on these nights that are coming up, which are Worlds Collide in Chicago and the night one in Nevada that was just recently moved to the MGM Grand Arena for night one of Triple Mania. Now, this is like a lot of moving parts, right? But ultimately, I think that we here at Infight and FX have stumbled onto what is actually going on. And I don't want to make it seem like I am the brilliant mind behind all this. I'm going to tell y'all, Abe Gonzalez, who booked this whole thing the moment it happened. He had been talking about, listen, I got to give Abe some credit here, for real, for real. And I do it all the time. Sometimes it comes off a little trolly, and I think people think I'm just joking. It's a joke because I'm trying not to make him feel uncomfortable that I'm, glazing him. But at the same time, it's not a joke that he's booked a lot of shit that was just 100% accurate. And that's why I do make the jokes about him having a source in the creative room. I don't think he does, obviously, that'd be crazy, but it would explain some of the things that he's booked in the past. And one of the things he said adamantly before or after the El Grande Americano, he said that was too big a business for them to not come back to. And specifically, that was too big a business not to involve Roman Reigns in somehow. Obviously, you're not going to use Roman Reigns to give the rub to a company that is seen by WWE itself as a lesser tiered company. Of course not. That's reserved for WWE to do to them, right? Because Danhausen, if you don't remember, beat Dom Mysterio for the AAA, or beat Dom Mysterio in a Money on a Polls match, and he was the fucking AAA champion. Like, imagine Roman Reigns goes over to fight Mr. Iguana, and Mr. Iguana beats him on like a fucking, Texas death match or something. Like, that would be crazy, right? It would be crazy. You wouldn't think it would happen because it wouldn't, but it would happen the other way around, and it has. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what it could mean. We're going to give some details as far as that goes. As far as wrestling, the other quick notes that we're going to have that we want to talk about is the Big Cass Corey Graves situation, the heat as they're calling it. Does Corey Graves have heat with our man Big Cass? I don't know. We're gonna talk about it though, for sure. What are you doing in here? No, Bubba, you can't be in here. You cannot be in here. I'm so sorry, but you cannot be in here. Babe. What do I do with T'Challa? Come on. Come. Yeah, okay. Goodbye. See you, Bubba. He has a urinary tract infection, so I can't have him like all over the place. Machine Gun Matt in the building. What's going on, champ?
Yo, what up? What up?
We're just chilling. Wait, how is this? Nope, that's a little too close, right? Let me see. Oh, that's not terrible, I guess. That's not bad, right?
No, it's fine to me.
Yeah, my bad. You can't see it yet. It's like, tell me what my screen looks like.
I got you over here on the side. It looks full screen.
What? What the heck happened here?
Yeah, your banner's gone, but
Yeah, okay, let me do this. Save new layout. What? Why is it doing that? That's so weird. Okay, let me do it this way then. This is fucking bullshit.
it's back now.
Is it?
Hmm? Yeah, I see
All
the
right.
Fury, Joshua, Roman up top, infighting on the bottom.
All right, let me just do it this way.
Mania.
Fuck it. Oh, there we go. Perfect. Hell yeah. Perfect. All right, champ. Appreciate you coming in, especially last minute. Big news is going on. I just want to remind everybody, we are talking the Roman Reigns to AAA confirmed. Who's he going to face? We're going to talk about that. I want to get your news or get your topic. I also want to get your topic for sure. These are the two topics I want you here for. If you can stay for longer, that's great. Up to you. But the other topic I want to talk to you about is Priest, Dom, LA Knight, and a couple of others have all recently in the last 2 weeks made statements as it relates to the same people being in the same spots as relates to WWE in the top spot. We're going to talk about that. Triple H ends up commenting on it a bit, being forced to. So I want to get your take on that. Big Cass and Corey Graves heat. We're going to talk about it. Corey Graves went unusually silent during Big Cass's debut this past week. Is it a potential kayfabe storyline we're going to get? Or is it a potential Matt Hardy Edge lead up blow up? We're going to talk about that. And then later with the boxing, we're going to talk about AJ and Fury being booked for a Friday. A Friday? That's when the guys that are on the rise fight. That's when the guys that have had a decent career but need a good win come up fight on a Friday. Big time boxing happens on a Saturday, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about why it belongs on a Saturday and why it'd be a huge mistake to make it on a Friday. Other than that, we are oh no, and the last thing is the Ali Act. It stalls in Congress. I mean, in the Senate floor. Are certain political opponents trying to stall out till November in hopes of defeating the legislation? We're going to talk about that. But Matt, Machine Gun, appreciate you joining us. How you doing? I think you're. Oh no, I can't hear you.
Chilling, man. Great day
No,
here in the state of Texas.
It's hot though, right?
No, yeah, it's a little warm, but it's not terrible. But it's
Bro,
warm.
let me. I'm gonna show you something. Can I show you something really gross?
Show me.
This is my back sweat.
Gross.
You see it?
You're the type of guy that perspires a lot, also, huh?
I drove to HEB and picked up an order on Favor, or picked up an order from curbside. Didn't get down, didn't walk, right? And I sweated this much. I sweated. I should have changed my shirt.
Damn.
It's fucking disgustingly hot outside. You're right, Mex. And that's the thing is, like, by the way, you know what I did? Oh my God, I got to tell you the story. Can I tell you a story real quick before we get, or how much time do you have?
I got a little bit. You got till
30?
30? Yeah.
Okay, cool. Perfect.
You got
So
till
let me just
about
tell you the story real quick.
30.
I want to know your thoughts. I want to know your thoughts on this. Okay. I told my wife this story already, and I want to know your thoughts. I found hope for humanity today, specifically in America, specifically for men and women. Now, I don't know if you know this, but people aren't getting married like they used to. Gen Z, in many polls and studies that have been taken, don't want kids, don't want to get married, don't want traditional relationships, right? These are, and a lot of people in the political realm, specifically as they align to Christian, say that this is not good for us, right? We're going to get to a point where we're not going to have as many people. And then we're not going to be able to, create younger people that, do the jobs that older people can't, right? Japan and China are actually supposed to have this kind of issue coming up very soon because of the things they did to restrict births in those places. That said, I have hope, Matt. I have hope. Let me tell you what happened. All right. I went to HEB to go pick up this order, and I pick it up. And so I went to the back to grab one of my monsters, or one of my drinks that I had bought. One of three ghosts, not sponsored. And so I get it, and I go to the back, I grab it, and there's this lady who I had seen when she had pulled up, right? She was a girl. She was probably like 24 to 27, maybe. And so I see her, and dude, she had, I don't know, she probably like works at like Mac or some shit, but she had done her makeup, right? She looked like, the vibe was a chola, no, not even chola, like a Chicano punk, like a Chicano emo. It was like super fire, right? And
you look like Mario Barrios.
Yeah, exactly right. She was super pretty though, super pretty. And so I was like, dude, do I offer to take her cart? Because she was like putting her stuff in the thing, and then the cart thing was on my side. So I was like, oh man, if I do that, she's gonna think I'm hitting on her. And like, this has happened at the gym to me, by the way, Matt, where I've said something nice, or even just try to been friendly, like, hey, I could put that weight up for you, or hey, after you're doing that, do you mind giving me a nod so I know to come over? And girls are like, I'm have a boyfriend. And like, I don't give a fuck. You think I want to talk to your sweaty, smelly ass right now? No, I don't. Like, the fuck? Like, bro, chill. How about you go to a girl's gym then, where you don't got to talk to guys? But this is what happened. I said, fuck it. I'm gonna tell her. Hey, do you want me to take your cart? And I just say it, and she's like, oh my God, that is super sweet of you. Thank you. Yes. So I grab it, and then I was like, man, I'm gonna compliment her whole aesthetic. And then I said, damn, but if I do that, she's gonna think I'm fucking hitting on her. And I was like, man, how sad is it that we're now in this place in society where like a dude, honest to God, without any expectations of sex or anything, can't just be nice to a girl out in public without it being problematic. So I go, listen, I'm just gonna tell you, I'm married. I'm in no way trying to hit on you. But the aesthetic is awesome. It looks good. I'm assuming you're like a professional makeup artist.
Right.
She's like, oh my God, I am actually trying to be. And so then she stops me and she says, thank you. She was like, basically, like, I had this look the whole day, nobody said anything. It was like a new thing she was trying. And so it was like, I hate that for you. This is what she said to me. She goes, I hate that for you. She goes, I hate that we're in this world where you can't just say a nice thing and be nice. She's like, if you would have said it, I wouldn't have assumed anything. And that's the way that interaction is supposed to happen. And I said, honestly, thank you for saying that out loud, because I was so self-conscious about even being nice and saying something like that it felt like I was putting myself on the line to be like a potential perv or something.
Bro, but it's because chivalry's dead, bro. You know what I mean? It's in this day and age, it's hard to, like you said, even like compliment somebody, because
Exactly.
if it's the wrong compliment, then it could be deemed offensive and all hell.
Bro, I've had girls roll their eyes at me for opening the door for them. Literally opening the door. Like, like that. Like, what?
Like, I've been in a situation, right, where I've been like, hey, I like those shoes. And it's just like, yo, leave me the fuck alone. I'm like, yo, I just said you had a nice pair of kicks. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's
Exactly.
weird.
Yes, dude. And oh my God, that was a great example, because you're absolutely right. It's like, bro, I guys are the kicks people. Like, don't get me wrong, I know girls like kicks too, right? Everybody likes Jordans, everybody likes Air Max, especially now in the younger generation. But that said, it's like, if I say, hey, dope ass rims, or oh, I love your shoes, or oh, I like that song too. Like, like, oh yeah, we're flirting. Like, it's
it's
crazy,
not
bro.
even like, I can't even call it like chivalry, bro. You know what I mean? Because it's just like being
It's just
nice,
like
just being a good
polite.
person.
And like, somebody could say, oh, you don't have to say it. You don't have to blah, blah. And it's like, fine, I don't. But at the end of the day, like, we're all out there. Sometimes we're struggling. Like, dude, I remember I lost 15 pounds last year, right? Or it was like at the start of my weight loss journey. Bro, my family didn't say a fucking word to me for like 3 to 6 months. I swear to God. And I was I started getting my feelings. Like, yo, what the fuck? Like, nobody said a word. Nobody said a word. You know what I mean? And so, like, the one day, some person that I go to the Stripes, they're my corner Stripes, and they were like, dude,
Mario,
you
what
got some
child are you?
serious weight. The what?
What child are you in like terms of order? You're the oldest?
Oldest.
Weird.
Yeah, no, it's not weird. You want me to tell you why? Because my brother gets like, so this is what it was. I had to go outside and help my dad with the yard. I had to go and learn how to fix the toilet when it was broken. I had to go outside with him and his friend that fixes ACs to find out what happens with the coolant or what happens with the fan, right? I had to learn how to edge the fucking grass so that you're not just chopping it up with a weed eater, right? I had to learn all those things. Where was my brother that whole time? Inside playing Super Nintendo, inside playing fucking Sega, inside playing PlayStation 2, inside playing Xbox. It was bullshit. So yeah, I'm not just the first child. I'm like the Hispanic first child.
No, I get it. If you're saying like middle child behavior type stuff, and that's how, like, I was like, okay, but no, it's different.
Yeah, exactly. It's different. So anyway, yeah, I just wanted to tell you that because I
no, I get it.
Really excited.
Yeah,
I was really excited by the interaction.
Because even here in this little town that I live in, right, smaller city, right, you kind of run into the same things. People, even like, even when I tell, like, I would see another guy at the gym, like, hey, bro, dope vet. That's dope. Because like this dude had the the Saiyan armor, but it was the weighted vest, right? So like the things that like Vegeta and shit would wear, but it was a weighted vest for him to work out in. I was like, bro, that looks so cool. Like, where did you get that? He just looked at me like I was a fucking weirdo. I was like, okay, like legit, like looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language backwards. You know what I mean? It was so like just strange.
Yeah, no, 100%, dude, 100%. So listen, we have a couple topics, some that I really, really want to get with you, okay? And I want to remind everybody before we start. First of all, go to Talking About Radio with Matt Garces and go subscribe. An excellent show yesterday, excellent show, and not just the parts that I was on. But the thing is that we discussed some of this, right? And not only that, if you were listening and subscribed to the show and got the notifications, you would have heard Abe gone on, and he would have told you before everybody found out exactly what was going to happen. And so I look at all this and I say to myself, what is happening? Was this always the plan? But what do you think, Matt, about Roman Reigns' potential Triple Mania and or Worlds Collide, because it's still not settled? What do you think about the potential of him facing off someone in a tourney style thing? Is this good business or not?
I think it is, because you give somebody the Roman Reigns rub, and even in a losing effort, you can have Roman give somebody a really good match, come up short, and the people still love him. Because I think I was talking to our mutual friend, about this scenario this morning, because it came up, right? He also pitched this idea yesterday when he was talking to me, because like I said, I threw out the idea of, maybe Roman and Penta, super WWE safe, or like I said, the Bloodline versus Los Perros del Mal, which, like you
Which
said,
is a very good match.
which you said though is the most WWE thing to do.
Very.
But the fact that they have announced their tournament, I think Abe's idea of Roman versus El Grande Americano is more than likely the scenario to happen. Now, going to what you said, I still stand firm that they're going to split up Punk and Roman. They're going to send Punk to Chicago in Worlds Collide. Then obviously Roman Reigns will be live at the MGM Grand, I believe, is where this is going to take place. Because the 2-night event, 1 night in Mexico, 1 night in Vegas. The tournament. Well, I don't know, actually, because the episodes of Raw are in Mexico, right?
Yeah.
So they're doing a whole weekend, because it's SmackDown in Mexico. Then you have Triple Mania. Then you have Monday Night Raw also in Mexico. So could we see the Tribal Chief down under? It would be cool.
Yo,
Like
wrestle.
I told you yesterday, Mario, it would answer a lot of the IWC's complaints, whether you call it counter programming or not. This is the WWE's top star going to AAA.
Well said, dude. Well fucking said. And now while I ask you this, I'm gonna pull up the X discourse that shout out to Mex. He just sent us big news to add to this real quick. Okay. But before we do that, I want to ask you, if you're WWE, what are the odds that you allow anyone to have a close match with Roman? Like, does it behoove you to allow a guy who was once Ludwig to come and do that? Like, has he reached a point where that'll work for everyone? Or does Roman look like the way that Breaker's looking right now with Tozawa beating his ass?
No, I think this applies, Mario, the same way like when they would go to Canada and everybody associated with the Heart Foundation. It's a different universe in Mexico. That's why I'm saying if Roman goes to Mexico, the most over person, probably more than him down there, would be El Grande Americano or Penta. And it would make sense for both of those guys. Because like I said, I was talking to our friend this morning. And it would make sense for Penta, because Penta obviously just dropped the IC title. It seems like the people like Trick Williams, Penta, they're going to give them the push towards the main world title scene. I can see them getting mixed in there. And like I said, El Grande Americano is the biggest thing in Mexico right now, in Mexican wrestling right now. He is the biggest luchador across the country, hands down.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
If this match happens in Mexico, I can definitely see him giving Roman a run for his money.
Agreed. And we were talking, I was talking to Abe as well, and he was kind of catching me up on what his booking was, and all I could see was just big picture stuff. All I could see is how it worked on so many different levels, right? And so I want to kind of get into a few of those real quick with you. Before we do, I want to show everyone what Mex just showed us. Thank you to Mex, by the way. This is a guy who for the last 10 years has not even gotten close to the amount of credit that he deserves, constantly keeping shows like mine, shows like The Boxing Voice, shows like Conan. As a listener, you're valuable, right? Everyone is valuable as a listener, but as somebody who contributes through their listening, that's a huge thing. So thank you to Mex, and thank you for doing what you do all the time. You make shows better, even when they're not mine, even when I'm just the one watching them. So thank you. As of press time, and this is from Wrestle Ops. Shout out to Wrestle Ops. He says, oh wait, my bad. This is actually from Wrestling Observer, but Wrestle Ops is reposted it. So shout out to Wrestle Ops and shout out to Wrestling Observer. As of press time, El Grande Americano is being rumored to face Roman Reigns for the World Heavyweight Championship on Raw in Mexico City next month. So, Matt, with this latest information, it could be a pivot now. I'm thinking, could this be a situation where Roman maybe comes to Worlds Collide or Triple Mania or even a weekly AAA show and says, Ray's asked me to give somebody a shot. And so over the next several weeks, Triple Mania is going, or AAA is going to have a tournament. Each one of those is weighted, just like the John Cena tournament was, until you get to either Worlds Collide or Triple Mania, where you have the finals, similar to the way that we saw, Cody Rhodes winning the King of the Ring, or I'm sorry, Obafemi winning the King of the Ring. And so what do you think? Does one work better? Obviously, one works better than the other in that AAA wants to have Roman on their airwaves, right? But does this suffice? Is this good enough to have a AAA star, the magnitude of Grande, as you have already attested to, face off against Roman outside of AAA? Does that give AAA the heat that it needs? Because we see TNA didn't really, get anything from that NXT rub. What do you think about this? Is this okay with you?
This works for me because it's still in Mexico. Like, look at the location. They're gonna
Mexico City.
They're gonna occupy that area for the entire weekend. So if you get hypothetically, if you get the finals on Saturday and a face-off on Saturday before, or even like you said, if he shows up in Chicago and Rey Mysterio, the one thing that we were talking about too off air was me specifically saying I think this leads to Grande and a losing effort stays over because close if they have a nice competitive match, because Ludwig can have a great match, okay? And I understand what you were saying, but this isn't Ludwig Kaiser. This is El Grande Americano. And if this is in Mexico, the biggest star they have. Now, I feel like in this losing effort, it would give him the taste to want to be a champion. And then this could set up the match between El Grande Americano and Dominic Mysterio, because, with Rey Mysterio being the general manager, he can say, my punk son doesn't want to defend his belt. So the winner of this tournament will get a shot at Roman Reigns. We've struck this deal. And then you have Roman come out, face off with the tournament winner. And I feel like this is big business in Mexico, because I believe the CMLL show that AEW will have that same weekend is not going to be there in Mexico. It's going to be in Chicago, or it's going to be in Florida. So it's an open weekend for the whole country, and the WWE is taking full advantage. Super smart by them.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to talk to you about this real quick too. So El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano, mask versus mask, was one of the most successful things that's ever happened on WWE TV, right? Now in that, we did see some things that were a bit problematic. Not problematic, I'm sorry. We did see things that doesn't make it as beneficial as other sort of things, right? And that is the playability back, the replayability, right? So when you had Shawn Michaels and Undertaker, for example, go out there and have one of the best all-time WrestleMania matches that anyone could even remember, what did they do? They ran it right the fuck back. When Cody and Roman Reigns created a monsoon of problematic online conversations with fans because Roman beat him, Triple H said, remember, the story's not over. Remember, the story always goes on. And what happened? It led to a rematch that ended up being one of the, if not the biggest things WrestleMania has ever had, right? Now, I want to bring you to here we are, El Grande Americano versus El Grande Americano. That's it. It's over. You can't have a mask versus mask match again. However, reminding the crowd that TKO, one of the people that leads it, is Nick Khan. Nick Khan did not come from wrestling. He came from boxing. And the one thing that Nick Khan understands about everything when it comes to combat sports and entertainment is you got to cash in the chips when you can. And this is a cash in the chips type of fight. This is a Fury Wilder type of situation. This is a Canelo Triple G type of situation. This is a fight that people want to see again. But how do you do it? Well, you let Roman give him the rub. So you put it in a situation where you have El Grande either win a tournament or just be flat out named the guy that faces Roman, doesn't win, gets the rub, and then you can bring him into WWE in a way that Chad Gable's now the face. He's now the heel. You run it all the way back again. What do you think of that? Is that the kind of big business they can repeat? Or was that mask versus mask match too right place, right time to ever recapture the allure? Can this be a true money-making rematch to you?
It could be because, like you said, with the other two examples you gave, the Shawn Michaels and the Undertaker had the greatest match in WrestleMania history.
Yes,
and they ran it back the next year. But just
you could even say they ran it 3 times with Triple H.
Small detail you left out though, Mario, is the rematch. They raised the stakes because with Shawn Michaels and Taker, they raised the stakes. Shawn Michaels' career was on the line.
Very good call. Very good
Cody
call.
and Roman, they raised the stakes. Bloodline rules. Same thing here. You could You could simply raise the stakes with either the Mega Championship or the Intercontinental Championship. Chad Gable versus El Grande live for AAA for the IC title. I mean, adding that title itself has more allure than a mask. And Chad Gable already said Chad Gable has the respect of the AAA crowd and said he would return. If he returns as champion, I feel like that would do big business for them. But I think it would be much better, especially with the Dominic Mysterio situation, that you just put the belts on the Mega Championship on El Grande Americano.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think you're right. But I think that if there's any shot that they could run this back, right? And again, like what Nick Khan brings to the table, what Ari Emanuel bring to the table are big picture, right? Macroeconomic type of advances, okay? And so when you have someone who thinks like that, when you have somebody who navigates outside of the parameters of normal WWE promoting or normal MMA promoting or normal boxing promoting, when you can encompass all of them, right? You have the ability to elevate one sport or the other by utilizing the thing that they're not doing inside the other one. And that's one of the biggest things is, yes, wrestling retells the stories all the time. WWE is very, very infamous right now for continuing the same storylines and running the same matches back. I mean, for Christ's sakes, we're about to get Stephanie McCurry and Liv Morgan again, and nobody wants that. But I will say that when you have a fight of this magnitude and you make the kind of money you made on AAA, right? And again, so this is a company where the overhead is lower. So anything you make, when you do big business or AAA, that matters way more than WWE, or maybe not matters, but it's way bigger because the budget is low, right? It's one thing for Avengers or Spider-Man to be the #1 film in the country, but have spent $1 billion to make it. It's another thing when you have a movie like Obsession that barely cost any money to make, and they fucking railroaded the box offices, the first place box offices for weeks. They did that. So, it kind of works in that favor. So I think that Nick Khan sees the value in not just rematches, but capitalizing on the story, on the momentum, right? On the theme of what is being told. Tyson Fury and Wilder worked because somewhere it tapped into this primal, I don't even want to say racism. It's not racism. It's like, just like culture lines, you know what I mean? And that was big for some people. Like some people, that was it. They needed Wilder to win. They needed Fury to win. So I don't know. I think you can capitalize on a lot of that.
I get what you're saying, but Mario, you watched the Spider-Man movie that just came out,
I
right?
did. Very much so.
To Nick Khan, right? AAA fits the category of small potatoes, right? AAA is not his problem. The money it generates is cool to him, I think, but like I said, this is a small potato issue. This is a Triple H, Undertaker, Conan, Rey Mysterio kind of thing. If AAA can make money and do their thing, awesome, fantastic. I don't think Nick Khan cares which way either. I think
Yeah.
I think at the end of their union, they would be more than willing to let AAA try to swim on their own. Don't get me
Oh,
wrong.
well said. Well
Yeah,
said. Well said. So
yeah, the Nick Khan situation, like I said, it's more, this is a small potato problem. He's handling the big cosmic problems.
agreed. Agreed. So I want to ask you this real quick though. Before we move on to the last wrestling topic. So a lot of people are talking about the Dom Mysterio stuff, and that's actually going to lead into our next topic. But they're talking about it in a very weird way. First of all, fans seem split on whether to feel sorry for him or not. Right? Part of it is like, dude, look at all this momentum WWE's just wasting, and then there's another crowd just as big, it seems, that are saying, dude, you get over all the time. You've been the golden goose. Like, chill. Your character and your rub are going nowhere for you to do the job for a few months. That said, though, one thing that I had failed to like really, really articulate or argue, and this is the worst part of it. I want to know what you think. Dom Mysterio is the mega champion right now.
Mm-hmm.
He is supposed to face El Grande Americano at or I forget when. They're supposed to face at some point, right? He owes him that title match. Matt, is it okay for WWE to bury AAA's main champion by having him lose to Danhausen of all people, and then expect that same crowd to offer the respect and admiration of a champion to that same Dom Mysterio when he goes next week and tries to present himself as the champion? Does that conflict for you? Does that conflict for fans? What is your take on that?
It's hard to dictate what is storyline and what is not. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Because you brought up Damian Priest a little bit, but his exact this was pointed out to me the other day. His exact tweet, word for word, is what he said on Unreal Season 2 after the Royal Rumble. So it's like, okay, what kind of story are they building? And then they kind of already they themselves realized that they forgot that Damian Priest and R-Truth are the tag team champions in SmackDown. Clearly. Because when, you got CM Punk teasing a potential match with Damian Priest, although they're like, no, let's make everybody's panties wet and give him the KO match and build up to that natural storyline that people understand. But with Dominic Mysterio, it's hard, bro, because it goes back to, it makes you think about what Karen Cross said, right? And you can be the good soldier all you want, you can do what they say, but if you don't like what you're fucking doing, it doesn't matter if you're on TV every week. If it sucks,
Ooh, well said.
you don't like it. And clear as day, Dominic Mysterio does not like what he's doing, but at the same time, Dominic Mysterio is a what? Technically third generation superstar.
Third generation superstar.
He knows how to work the fucking people, bro. He's been brought in and brought up around all of this. And if we're getting our legs jerked for a big time storyline for something, I hope it's worth it for Dom's sake. But like I was telling you on my show yesterday, bro, we were talking about this guy being the fucking world champion at some point. We were saying him and Braun Breaker would be a WrestleMania main event in the future. It doesn't look like it's going that way for him right now, and him being the champion of a whole entire other organization and being treated this way, it's odd, bro. And this is why I even brought up, like, maybe Dom should just stay in AAA for a little bit, but then you get more of the Judgment Day stuff, which I'm also tired of, and I don't know. I don't want to call this a total fumble, right? Because it seems like the talent in that pool that you brought up, they're getting ready for a push to do something. What that is, we don't know, and will it work? We don't know.
Well
But
said.
I'm tired of the let's just wait and see, guys, because we've been saying that all year for both companies, dude, and it's not.
Yeah,
not
and
working.
it's one thing when you say wait and see on a guy like Page. It's one thing when you wait and see on a guy like Javon. It's one thing when you wait and see on a guy like Oba. It's a completely different thing to say wait and see on a guy that you've pushed in front of us to be this guy, and then at AAA he's supposed to be that guy. It just doesn't make any sense. And so this leads into the final wrestling topic, or not the final, but the final for you that I had for you. And this is something that, you know, at the end of the day, I feel very strongly on this now. I've said this point before, but I feel very strongly on it today. Matt, when you see the success of a guy like Hulk Hogan back in the day when he went to WCW, or guys like Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Scott Hall, as Razor Ramon, people will remember, was never world champion. He was like an IC champion specialist, right? Kevin Nash, while Diesel did get over, you know, and they put the title on him, they weren't like super excited about his skills or ability. Like, I don't know, he was going to be that guy if he stayed. All three of them rebranded themselves, revamped themselves, and became premier players, elevated above their spot where they were when they left WWF at the time, WWE today. Now I ask you, look at that. And then I ask you, look at the more current ideas that we have, the more current examples that we have. The smallest one being TNA's, what's his name? They just changed it. Santana, right? That being the most modern example. Here's a guy who not only was he just a part of a tag team championship and kind of just like the other guy, he ended up becoming a world champion as he went to TNA, made his name, and now he's a highly sought out player in NXT.
Yes.
Now I'm going to bring up another name, Chad Gable, who was Shorty G. At the end of the day, in an era where Vince McMahon ran things and absolutely hates short people, he was never going to get over. Okay. And then even coming back, becoming the El Grande Americano, Matt, that character got over, but nowhere near the way it got over in AAA. Not even close. And then he went to AAA and made it bigger in WWE. Final example I have for you, Ludwig Kaiser. Ludwig Kaiser, you could argue, is one of the most non-factored wrestlers in the history of the company over in 2020s. He was a goon for Gunther, and that was all he was ever going to be. That's all they ever had for him. In fact, him and Giovanni Vinci, they had a small little feud as they broke up the faction, and they didn't even fucking finish it. That's how little they cared about Ludwig Kaiser. Today, he exists as probably top 10 most popular wrestlers in the TKO brand, maybe in wrestling today. He was like not even top 100 2 years ago. Okay. I say all that for a reason. I say all that to say that the Damian Priests, the LA Knights, the Nick Aldis, and as we just discussed, the Dom Mysterios have all just recently come out and made some sort of statement as it relates to not getting over and as it relates to the same people being in the same spots, the Cody Rhodes, the Roman Reigns, those guys, the CM Punks, all maintain the same place, all maintain the same value. Now, the argument I've been getting is that everyone does it, including AEW. However, I will point to you and say, look at Tommaso Ciampa. You could say, well, look at him. He's not really anything. Bullshit. This is a guy who didn't have any fucking traction. No movement, bro. No movement whatsoever. And then look at him today. You could say, well, it's a shitty angle that got him into the news. Does it fucking matter, Matt? Does it matter when you have your partner, Johnny Gargano, face it planted every fucking day like a cock? Every single WWE TV week, a cock. They make him a cock with his wife there, asking any wrestler that passes by, please help my limp dick, low testosterone husband, please. And meanwhile, Tommaso Ciampa was on the front page of Wrestling Observer 2 weeks ago, and he had been on the front page. He was on the front page of the pro wrestling website. He was on the front page of everybody. He was in the top 10 guys who had the best month of July or June or whatever it was. All I'm saying is he debuted in AEW, and I'm not trying to say, oh, AEW is this great place, we should go. It is the simple fact that WWE has a cap. They have a governor right now, and so does the UFC, but we're talking about WWE, has a governor on their stars, right? And that governor says, once you get to this level or whatever level it is that we've seen from you, that's it. Now it's your job to get to that next level. We're not going to push you like Roman. You are not John Cena. The best shot you have in this company, the highest place that any of you could get to, is to hope to replace Seth Rollins, the perennial number 2. And so I'm going to pass this to you. I want your take on the things that I'm saying. Obviously, it was a lot, so encapsulate best you can. But before I pass it off, I want you to have this question in mind, right? Throughout all this, Seth Rollins remains one of the top 10 pound for pound wrestlers, I think, over the last 10, 20 years from the independents to WWE. Yet there is zero roads for him to become John Cena, to become Roman Reigns, to become Cody Rhodes at all, except for one. That Doctor Strange 1 in a million, that Doctor Strange, this was the timeline that works, is him going out and getting over for himself, because that's what Gable did, because that's what Ludwig did, because that's what Santana did. At the end of the day, creative fucking sucks. We all know that. We've all said it. It's nothing new. But what doesn't suck are the wrestlers who have that creativity to get over. So if it takes Dom pretending that he's Marshawn Lynch and he didn't want to do the job for Danhausen so that we can all as marks, hooray him and pretend that there's beef when secretly there's not, and he doesn't give a shit because he's making the same money either way, then we become the marks and we pay that off. And so at the end of the day, the only thing these guys can do is try to get over for themselves. And the biggest and best way to do that is to take their talents to South Beach, another promotion, whatever you want to call it. Matt, what say you real quick before you go? I'll let you gather your thoughts. I'm just going to read through this mech stuff real quick. I don't even know if he's even talking about this. They figured out how to work us again, and it's through Unreal. This Dom stuff will be on the next season. Very good point, and that's exactly what I'm saying. He's going out of his way to do this. Maybe the WWE is part of it, but Dom is the one who is utilizing this thing. People are actually convinced that Michael Hayes hated on Chelsea Green. They learned that fans believe everything and are using it against us. Very true. They believe it. At the same time, do you believe that that's not the case fully?
Man,
it may have been
that Freebird, bro. Fuck him.
Yeah, fuck that Freebird. That's what I'm saying. But is it inflated or was it not true? Like, is it a full work and he really thinks she's great? Or did they just play it up for camera, but he really does think she sucked? Mario took that short stuff personally. Oh, I sure as fuck did. Fuck Vince on some real shit. Ciampa still has no traction. He's been forgotten about. Okay, I'll argue with that later. That's crazy that you even say that. You're talking about,
argue with that right now,
no, I know. It's about being a draw. Either you have it or you don't. And Priest and Knight, to a lesser extent, do not have it. Life ain't fair. Get over it. That's bullshit, because if this comes, and you're playing Monday morning quarterback, bro, you know better than to do that. Do not do that. You're playing Monday morning quarterback because you both, I know, you would have never said that about Gable. You would have never said that Ludwig had the it factor, and yet they are over as Rover. There's one tippy top guy, period, and it's not for everyone to achieve. Go rant in the corner with Bob Holly. Absolutely. But how do you achieve it? By getting over on your own damn self. The Michael Hayes thing wasn't true. I'll bet money on it. All right, Matt. A lot has been said. I've said a lot. I'm going to mute, and I'd like your take on this thing. Don't be afraid to get spicy.
Okay. So, first of all, to start with Damian Priest, I do not feel bad for Damian Priest, Mario. You know why? They gave him the ball for a summer, and he did not do anything with the ball. I made you the world heavyweight champion, okay? You had multiple pay-per-views, main evented pay-per-views, and couldn't get over more than the story that they were really wanting to tell. And that's because they moved him around away from Drew McIntyre and Punk. But nobody in the fandom was like, Damian Priest feels like a world champion. Damian Priest should have got a longer run with his world title. Damian Priest got done dirty. Damian Priest got his chance. And they realized that he was not a star without being associated with Rhea Ripley. Okay? Number one. Number two, Tommaso Ciampa is no more over than he was in the WWE at all. He's not even more over than he was in NXT. Okay? Mario, he was not the top guy in that group of people from Ring of Honor that came up. Because remember, when they moved over to NXT, I want you to answer me this question. It was Tommaso Ciampa, it was Gargano, it was Andrade, it was the Undisputed Era, and it was Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. Who were the top two guys out of that group?
I can't say who they were. Who are they today?
Where are they today? Now?
Yeah, it's Ciampa.
No,
it's Ciampa that's made the biggest leap.
I'm gonna
Ciampa that's made the biggest leap.
Those names again.
Go ahead.
Okay?
I'll go ahead.
Ciampa, Gargano, Andrade,
Mhm.
The Undisputed Era as a whole,
Mhm.
Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn.
Mhm.
That was the group that Triple
Yep.
H brought into his era of NXT. Out of all of those guys, who are the two guys that mean the most to wrestling today?
Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens.
Okay.
And that's asking a question who's got, you could also ask the question who's gotten the most time to do that, right? You could say,
who's more over today than their NXT days?
okay, I'm glad you said that. It's Tommaso Ciampa. It's Tommaso Ciampa. Let me tell you why. No. Let me tell you why.
After
Because
the
Adam
pop that
Cole
Kevin Owens got?
no, yes, more than Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens does not exist at a higher plane today than he did 4, 3, 2, 5 years ago. He peaked out with the Stone Cold stuff. He's down from that. Okay, Adam Cole down from that.
No,
Sami
no.
Zayn down from that.
Mario,
Losing the
Kevin
championship for
Owens
9
was
days.
just
Tommaso Ciampa.
Kevin
Go ahead, I'm
Owens
sorry.
was just a top 10 trend on Twitter. Kevin Owens was just a top 10 trend on Twitter. Was Tommaso Ciampa the top 10 trend when he was getting a fucking drill in his
Yes, he
head the
did.
other day?
Yes, he did. Yes, he did become a top 10 trend in that thing. And by the way, okay, fine. Maybe he wasn't a top 10 trend, but he was a top trend in wrestling. But let me ask you this: Had Kevin Owens been hold on, wait. Had Kevin Owens been a top 10 had Kevin Owens been a top 10 trend before in the past?
When Kevin Owens, no, here's the thing.
Yes, he did when Cody Rhodes, just with the Cody Rhodes fan stuff, he went trending. So my point is this: if you were already Jordan, Pippen, KG, fucking Brunson, if you were already a top star, then that's the ceiling you're playing with. Kevin Owens isn't a bigger star today than he was 2 years ago. Tommaso Ciampa, Matt, belongs
expectations put upon them that they had to fulfill.
No, you're missing this. No,
Kevin Owens was one of the big. Kevin Owens and Adam Cole were two of the biggest indie stars when they signed to the NXT.
I agree. And where are they today?
One of those guys fulfilled their expectations, and it wasn't Adam Cole.
Matt, if we did a trending board right now, and we had Tommaso Ciampa, KO, Sam, all the people you mentioned, right? Everybody you mentioned except for Ciampa would be on a downturn. I'm not saying that they're less popular than Tommaso Ciampa. Real quick, I'm not saying that they're less popular than Tommaso Ciampa. I'm saying pound for pound, Tommaso Ciampa has elevated far more than the rest of them because you don't even remember what Tommaso Ciampa was doing when he left SmackDown. You don't remember anything he's done over the last year. He was what?
He was with Johnny Gargano in a tag team, and then he went to AEW and won the TNT title.
That's not a theme. That's not a theme.
That isn't worse.
That's just they were tag teams. But what?
Would you rather be
what program were they in? What storyline was being told?
They had just did the big tag title TLC match at SummerSlam, and then they fired him.
Again, that's just a random booking on paper. I'll tell you what it was. Their last storylines were with the Toxic guys and with Motor City Machine Guns. And basically every week it was like, hey, Motor City Machine Guns, remember we were the IWC. Now today we're sports entertainers. So blah, blah, blah. Fuck off. That was their last thing and nobody gave a shit about it. All I'm telling you is that Tommaso Ciampa, he doesn't exist as a bigger star today. All I'm saying is he exists in the economy of attention on social media, whether it's good or bad, whether it's because it's stuff you like or dislike, it doesn't matter. People are talking about him today since he went to AEW in a way that they never talked about him in WWE.
He's a big fish in a smaller pond. That's why.
No, see, oh my God, I hate that you're doing this because you're changing the goalpost on purpose. Oh, so what about Keith Lee? What was he?
Mario,
what was Keith Lee? What was Aleister Black? Why didn't they get over, Matt?
He's gonna be more over for them over there because he was doing the same shit he was doing on the indies 20 fucking years ago when they liked him in the first place. The same shit he was doing. That's what he's doing. You're not gonna be able to. You're not. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you this. Would he have garnered more attention in a match against Danhausen or a match against Chris Jericho?
Danhausen at WWE or Chris Jericho at absolutely Danhausen. Absolutely.
Okay. How does he elevate himself with this program that he had with Chris Jericho?
Because he's on TV. Literally, that's it. He's on TV with a big star as opposed to where he was before. No, WWE literally had him doing
he was the tag
segments
champion.
Bro,
He
that
was
lasted shorter than
and they
fucking
were com-
Sami Zayn's
it
title
was
run at the end
competing
of the
with-
day.
It wasn't through the whole summer. It was him.
Okay,
It was him and Gargano, the Prophets, and the Wyatts.
and it did nothing for him. Nothing, even
Because
less.
it's a company
Bro,
that doesn't care about tag team wrestling, Mario.
exactly. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. Listen,
Hold on,
was
wait,
the drill
wait,
good?
wait,
It was
hold on.
terrible. It was a terrible thing. But
Wait,
go ahead, my bad.
Mario, because
Go
you
ahead.
asked me about Aleister Black. You asked me about Ciampa.
Go ahead.
These are two of the biggest Triple H guys, and they didn't make it in Triple H's WWE. Shouldn't that be a red fucking flag? The guy that was making you pretty much the next. It was pretty much God, Jesus, Tommaso Ciampa in NXT. How come he did not make it in Triple H's
No.
WWE?
How could I ever answer that question, Matt?
Because
In
he
good faith,
fucking
how could I
can't.
ever
He's an
answer that question?
indie wrestler. He is a big indie wrestler. Adam
Sure.
Cole is a big indie wrestler. Tommaso Ciampa, Johnny Gargano, Andrade, big indie wrestlers. And where are they popular and where are they successful? And I hate to say it this way, but on the biggest super indie in the Northern American hemisphere, AEW.
Okay. Can I ask you like this? Okay. All right. WWE. I'm just
Mhm.
gonna ask you a series of questions. Seriously.
Go for it.
Okay. Does WWE write creative for their wrestlers? Most of them, not the top
Yeah.
stars. You would agree with that?
They
Okay.
write it for everybody, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. But they don't have anyone managing their social medias, right? They don't have anybody like they do all that stuff themselves. The wrestlers are basically responsible for the character when they leave, right?
I would say that Roman Reigns doesn't run his. If I was to pick anybody, but yeah, I'll agree with you. That
Really, I feel like Roman
I don't
definitely
think Roman
does
posts
because
on his own because he hardly posts. I don't
maybe
think
not post on his own, but like
I don't
when he
think
does the
he's like
McAfee
Ric
stuff,
Flair.
like
I
when
don't
he
think
does
he's
the
like Ric Flair
McAfee,
is telling his assistant to post in all caps
sure,
like that.
sure.
But I think it's somebody's posting for him. I think
So what about like when he goes on McAfee and he says something like,
like,
he talks shit about the roster? Do you think that's approved before time or given to him, or is that him on his own doing whatever he wants?
I think that's approved. I think the topic is approved, not what he's going to say.
Got it. Okay, so
What are you going to
let
tell
me-
him? Top guy. Mario, let's get one thing in the air before you continue. A top guy gets top guy treatment.
and
Cody
that's a rare spot.
Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, CM Punk, Rhea Ripley can tell everybody in TKO and the WB to go fuck themselves.
Absolutely, and no one else can.
Put in my face.
Absolutely, and no one else can, right?
Mhm.
So then follow me with this premise. If all that is true, then isn't it in a way the only blueprint to success beyond what WWE has limited you with? Now, again, it could be tag team champions, you could be IC, you could be Gunther, right? Gunther's a huge star. He's not a top guy, right? So if you have aspirations of being a top guy, it's going to be up to you, right, to get over with fans, because you can't control what you're doing in the ring. You can't control what you're doing on the script, right? So if there's anywhere that you're going to be able to reinvent yourself, create a moment, it's going to be outside of the company. This isn't an AEW versus WWE thing. I think the same thing could be done in TNA. I think Ludwig showed us how this is done in AAA with a crowd that doesn't even you don't even speak the same language, although Ludwig did, but Gable didn't, right?
Think about this.
Go ahead.
Think about this. Where are you saying these are taking place, right? This is going to be accepted over here, not over here. But it's the same thing vice versa, Mario. Because remember, they tried to do, what was his name? Vikingo, right? Remember? They bought out his contract. They brought him
shout
in.
out Drew Van Dam.
But remember, when they debuted him in AAA, the fans in Mexico denied him from the jump, and they said, we want Dom instead, right? El Grande Americano was not working in the WWE, but they take him to AAA. It worked in AAA because things like that are accepted over there, just like things like, Tommaso Ciampa is doing now.
Partly, but no. Okay,
only over in that universe of where
partly that's the reason why. Partly that's the reason why. Other parts are like what we see in sports, right? Like you could have a player who's good and great and healthy, but he's not vibing with that coach or that the game plans or the schemes or whatever, right? And so then at the end of the day,
I'm the one that
somewhere else.
Program. I dictate
Exactly.
the program.
Exactly. Listen to me. We had a debate about the Young Bucks showing up to a place that isn't their promotion and it being the biggest pop that you could ever imagine, right? That's what it's all about. It's all about getting that moment where you're outside of the box you normally are. Then it's up to you to keep it coming, right? Dude, Bryan Danielson and Adam Cole, CM Punk, those were three of the biggest pops in this decade in AEW when they debuted. But guess what? They didn't have the steam for all those guys.
I hate to interrupt you, bro, but this is where you and the IWC get the shit wrong. You can't get somebody over off of a fucking pop, off of a moment.
Agreed.
I agree. You know your greatest example? Look at the fucking Rock. The Rock
You're
is
absolutely
over.
Look at Sol Ruka.
Surprises people. Right.
So then what happens when you have a Danhausen and a Sol Ruka situation where their debuts they go off without a hitch, and then you are labeled or put in this position? Like, here's the thing. What if Danhausen was said after night one, oh my God, this is a flop, never put him on TV again? They wouldn't have known, right? They wouldn't have known. So what I'm saying is there are so many unknowns right now, right? Damian Priest could be doing the best work of his career. Maybe, maybe not. R-Truth could be a bigger player right now. Maybe, maybe not. Rusev could be doing something bigger. Maybe, maybe not. Dom should be or could be the heavyweight champion right now. Maybe or maybe not. But Matt, those things aren't going to happen. It's just like Mech said. There is one top spot. Cody and Punk are lucky enough that they exist in an era where they could actually hover around the Roman Reigns of the company, but it's going to get a smaller and smaller list of people that can get over. Let me tell you,
you're confusing the top guy and then top guys. Those are two different spots. One guy's
you're confusing it because I'm saying it's about elevating. If you're a Tozawa, how do you become bigger than a Tozawa, Matt? If WWE is going to make you
character, bro. That's why you don't. I don't want to do that. No,
I know, but I'm saying, like, okay,
it's the same thing though, bro. It's the same thing, right? Because I want to go back to the original point. You can agree with me. Damian Priest got an opportunity with the ball, did he not? Right?
Yes, he did.
He got opportunity,
and he didn't do anything with it.
He had great creative.
He didn't do anything.
He didn't do anything with it.
And then guess what, Matt? You ready for your debate point to be crushed? 3, 2, 1. So did fucking Roman Reigns. What would have happened if WWE would have said in that first run, oh my God, this guy fucking is hated by the fans? What would have happened, Matt, if they would have said, we'll never give him another chance?
You know what happened?
Damian Priest may or may not ever get over, but the fact that they only gave him one chance already separates him from the Roman Reigns of the world.
Here's the thing, right? You're talking about a guy, right, who was anointed by Vince McMahon that this was what I'm going to fucking do, okay? Eventually, they found it out because there was a way for Roman to get over, right? Roman needed to be a heel. Roman needed to be a badass. He didn't need to be the smiling, babyface, suffering, succotash guy that Vince McMahon was originally presenting. He got over. Damian Priest was doing the same thing he was doing, but when I took the actual stars away from him, he was seen as less than. Is that not true?
Yes, it is true. It is true.
And then
is it
are those
true for Roman too?
Completely different though, because Vince McMahon.
It is different, but is it not partly true?
No, because
I'm sorry, my bad.
Because I know the answer to fix Roman Reigns. There is no answer to fix Damian Priest.
Oh my God, you're playing Monday morning quarterback
Mario,
hard right now. There's a way to fix Roman. Yeah, we found it after we found it. Like, did you think of the bloodline in 2017 or 16?
No, but I knew he needed to be a badass like he was in the Shield. He needed to not talk and fucking wreck people like he was doing.
Stop, Matt. We both know why. We both know how Roman got over at the end. We both know what ended up being the thing that got Roman
Vince
over.
McMahon said, "You're next." That's how he got over.
He got the chance. No, that's how he got the chance to get over, Matt. That's why he was able to receive the chance when that chance was available.
McMahon saw this big Samoan man. See, here the thing is though, right? He fit the mold that Vince McMahon loved, right?
Sure.
Big guy, had a look, All we need to do is teach him how to talk. But you were teaching him how to talk the wrong way. When he debuted in the Shield, Mario, people loved him because he didn't talk and he wrecked shit.
Yeah, he was
That's
the
all they
enforcer.
had. That's all he had to do. And then when he became the tribal chief, Paul Heyman began to speak for him, and he just wrecked shit. Damian Priest, there's no
Fast
when I
forwarded through a lot to get to the
when
Paul
I
Heyman, but that's okay.
but that's not what happened. Is that not what happened? He went away. He was the big dog. When he came back, he was the tribal chief. That's what happened. Because like the thing is,
John Cena.
Damian,
John
like
Cena. My bad. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
it's just that we're talking about the people that are complaining. Dominic Mysterio, they're just doing Dominic dirty. LA Knight, his window was simply missed, Mario. His window was 2 years ago because, like I brought up to you when Triple H said, are you more over than these people?" He was. Is he as over as he once was? No, and that's not his fault because the people gave up on the thought that he's going to get his opportunity.
Okay,
That
and
ruined
that's a fair point. Sure, but could you not say the same thing about John Cena as I'm saying about Roman Reigns? That there was these moments where it was like, it's not working, this doesn't work, but they kept on and kept on and kept on, right? They shoved it down our throat, and that became a reason why we despise John Cena. It became a reason why we despise
Can you name me the John Cena that was waiting behind John Cena?
I mean, we'll never know. They never got their
His name was
chances.
Roman Reigns. That's what his name was. They tried to force Roman into this position. They never built up another John Cena. That's why John Cena was John Cena. They
Sure,
never made another one.
but you know what never happens anymore is, hey kid, go out there with Kurt Angle and yell ruthless aggression. That doesn't happen anymore. People
That
don't
didn't
get
just
their
happen.
chances
Hold
to
on.
really
That
get
didn't just happen
over.
in January. I'm gonna send
And-
you out there with the best wrestler I have, Braun. Go out there and have a good match with Punk.
oh,
Up to you now.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, sure. I mean, that's a semi-fair point. I just think ultimately what you're doing here is neglecting the idea that to get a top guy over today to that next level, to a degree, you have to go through ups and downs, right? But you have to just keep plotting forward, right? And so that's what happened with Roman. That's what happened with Cena. Priest, I'm not here to argue is a top guy. I'm not here to argue that putting the belt on LA Knight would make everything awesome. I am here to argue that LA Knight, Priest, Dom, or maybe not Dom, but a lot of the guys, Finn Balor, Sami Zayn, even Kevin Owens, these guys' opportunities will only come if they're creating the opportunities for themselves. And all I'm saying is it's much easier to do that outside of WWE, not AEW specifically, not TNA specifically, not AAA specifically, just
Out on your own,
outside of the restrictive nature of
But
WWE.
is that
That's
not the
really
same
the
thing
heart
as
of
you
this.
saying as go get yourself over? That's the same thing. You have multiple platforms. Go get yourself over.
Oh my God, Mech should be the one debating you because
It's
he's winning this argument on the chat. It's not even me, dude.
it's a
Look at
it's a
Braun, Matt.
matter it's a matter of, and I gotta hop off real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. I
That's my
appreciate,
time,
dude. I appreciate it. This was awesome, dude.
the main thing is just, bro, it's like, look, I don't feel bad because, like I said, Damian Priest can complain all he wants. He got an opportunity with the ball. Your argument is null and void, Damian. I'm sorry. You had an opportunity, but like I said, when I took the actual stars away, what were you? When I remove you from the group, right? Like you said, when I remove Scott Hall from the group, when I remove Kevin Nash from the group, when I remove Hulk Hogan from the group, who's a star? It was Hulk Hogan. When I remove Rhea from the group, who's a star? Rhea. When I remove Dom from the group, who's a star? Dominic Mysterio. When I remove Damian Priest, Mario, was he a star? No.
Sure. No, I mean,
No.
he wasn't. I mean,
Like
sure,
I said,
your point
and
is
just
valid.
final point. And Alex, I'm gonna say this right now because I wanted to bring this up yesterday. David Benavidez is ducking Jai Opatai, plain as Jane.
He said it.
David Benavidez refuses to acknowledge that they can make this fight, that they can make offers to this fight, and that there's a place to have this fight. Zuffa Boxing is doing a co-promotion with Golden Boy and DAZN. Zuffa Boxing was just on the last ring card that was on Netflix. Jai Opatai is the man at cruiserweight, and that man is ducking. And I'm glad Jai Opatai said what he fucking said yesterday because David Benavidez doesn't want that fight, and I'm signing off with that one.
Appreciate it. I'll give your socials. Okay. I just wanted to write down my response to that before he got off because yeah. Okay, so listen, thank you to Matt, dude. That was such a great spot. I'll be honest, I think Mex probably wins the argument, or I win the argument off of Mex's point there. Braun Breaker is the point that I didn't even think of in all this, right? And this goes to why I'm right in all this, okay? Because Braun Breaker is the opposite of what we've been discussing in the John Cena's and the Roman Reigns. Braun Breaker is a guy who they didn't shove down our throat. They had a story that elevated him, you know, this spot to this spot, this spot to this spot. And he went up like a ladder, right? And everything seemed to be working. And then I guess he did get injured, but still, like they ended up shifting gears, right? And by the way, they were shifting gears before he got injured. He didn't get the title match. He didn't get the championship. He didn't get to wreak havoc on everyone. Paul Heyman clipped his nuts, and they've been clipped ever since. Okay. Braun Breaker is an example of someone who did everything right and still did not get the chance to get over. That doesn't mean he won't. That doesn't mean it's not coming, right? But look what Matt said. Matt's entire point. I can't give Priest any credit at all. He has no validity in his argument. And why? Because he's already gotten the title and he already ran with it. Okay, sure. What about Bret Hart? How many title matches did he get? What about Shawn Michaels? What about Undertaker? What about Triple H? What about Mankind? What about The Rock? What about Stone Cold Steve Austin? What about all the guys? Well, Stone Cold probably doesn't count because he was already over. But all the guys that I mentioned didn't get over massively in their first title run, okay? They didn't get over massively at all, not even a little bit, okay? It was a situation where they were hamstrung into this sort of situation, okay? Where they have the title, but they don't get the push, right? Or they get a limited push. And then they come back to it eventually in hopes that it will succeed. It will pass over. I just think ultimately Braun Breakers are someone to look at and say, wow, I'm damned if I do. And then Damian Priest and R-Truth even, and some of the guys that had heat and just never got capitalized on are reasons to say, I'm damned if I don't, you know? So it's like this situation where both of them put them in a lose-lose situation. So what are your options if you believe that you can exist at a superstar level higher than the one you currently occupy? You got to go into business for yourself. That is not me suggesting that you go out there and try to roll up Cody on a house show or anything like that. Not at all. It is me saying that if you're Dom Mysterio and you're totally fine and everything's cool and you're like, hey, I think I can make some heat by pretending like I'm fucking pissed about the whole, vampire thing. That's what you do. You go out there and you push the limits, right? You push the limits. You start to try to get over in the ways you can get over, but understand that if you exist as a character or even a caricature of yourself, you're stuck in that in WWE. And the only way out, the only way Seth Rollins will ever even have a shot at being Roman Reigns or succeeding Roman Reigns is for him to go to another company and completely blow the fucking door off. Do things that are unpreventable from seeing on your feed. Matt Mex, what is going on, champ? Thank you for the backup today, by the way.
Yeah, you're welcome. But now I'm here to kill your little argument, though.
Let's hear it, because Matt couldn't. It's funny because this is how expert. Look at Mex over here. Fucking pro debater is here fighting both arguments
and winning both
he
of them.
Could win both sides. This sounds nuts. Let's go ahead.
So you talked about leaving WWE to make a name for yourself, right? If you believe you're capped at a ceiling, there was a certain guy that won the IC title at a Mania, had a huge moment, made his own internet title at one point, was the biggest guy the indie fan, the internet fans loved. His name was Zack Ryder. He left. He became Matt Cardona, the biggest the king of the indies, right? That's what they call him.
Oh, you're helping me, dude. You're helping me.
Am I? Because his whole your whole goal is to be the guy in WWE, right?
Mhm.
So he goes and establishes that he's a top guy, right? Has Chelsea Green out there flashing her titties in GCW. He's having death matches, and he's kicking ass all over the world, right? Makes a little comeback, makes a reappearance, and he's not even the biggest WWE name in his household still, because it's just there's to what you're trying to say, Mario, is you're looking for a wrestling star. These guys, the Cenas, the Romans, Austin, you know what I mean? Even Cody. These are WWE stars. These are WWE top guys. And there's a difference between being a top wrestling guy and being a top WWE guy. And I want to say this. You keep bringing up Seth Rollins, and I'm like, and I don't think you're meaning it by this, but like, I get what you're trying to say, but like, are you gonna tell me Seth Rollins is like gonna fucking retire unhappy that he never surpassed Roman, when he's like literally? I would assume
I'm
if
glad
there
you
was
asked
ballots.
this. Thank you for asking this, because the fact that even came into your mind suggests that could be how other people interpreted it. And so I need to do a better job of explaining, because no, that's not what I meant. And I feel like it's unfortunate that I didn't do a good enough job of explaining it, because I want to make it very clear. I don't think Seth, Tozawa, R-Truth, Damian Priest, Dominic Mysterio have any reasons to hold their heads down at all. Okay. If I could be the Brooklyn well, that's a lot. Actually, he's like had a good career. Like, if I could be one of the doinks, one of the forgotten doinks, if I could be the shitty version of Sin Cara, I would, right? Any sort of, if I could have won a World Series by just being the bullpen catcher and literally not playing one thing on day on the field, that's my dream. So never do I think that they have a reason to want more unless they themselves want more. So if Seth, who I use as an example only because I believe he is permanently stuck where he's at in WWE, and there will be nothing to elevate him other than a complete shift, complete makeover, and that can only happen outside of WWE. And now, so real quick, what I'm saying is anyone who wants to elevate their spot, and you use Matt Cardona, and that actually helps my position, because again, Matt Cardona as Zack Ryder was fired. They didn't want Zack Ryder, but who did they bring back? They brought back Matt Cardona. That was at NXT. That's who he originally was. Now they don't own the Matt Cardona rights, so they only bought into the Zack Ryder, brought him back as Zack Ryder. I mean, I have a feeling that if they would have been willing to sell his Matt Cardona character, they would have been more than willing to use it.
His name,
so what I'm saying is that the only reason he came back is because he did what he did on the Indies. Otherwise, they never would have wanted him back in the first place. Go ahead. Mex, we can't hear you.
Is his name not?
Oh, but hey, you're gonna have to start over because you went out. Oh, he's gonna have to come back. Mario, would Wade Barrett have been a multiple-time world champion if Cena put him over like he was supposed to? Yeah, absolutely. Wade Barrett got a very much raw break, and he's not somebody I would say the situation applies to, because wrestling was so different back then. Like, again, my argument isn't that this is how wrestling should work. What my argument is, this is how wrestling does work today in this current economy. We are at a place where the only way to get over is by, again, going into business for yourself. That doesn't mean what it meant back then. You know, I'm not saying roll anyone up. I'm saying that you got to start taking the initiative on social media. right? There are so many guys who have elevated themselves simply through these characters and personas and segments that they do in that kind of way. And so I don't know. Mex, go ahead.
All right, am I back? Can you hear me?
Perfectly.
God saves you, because I sometimes go through these dead spots when I'm really about to grill that ass.
Stop pretending like you didn't fucking cut your own cord like
Yeah,
that fucking hey,
whatever.
hey, you're fucking what's his name? Pedro
And listen,
Serrano in the
listen.
Major League
You-
3. You remember that movie,
you-
Back to the Minors, where they cut the lights out at the Twin Stadium?
Yeah, listen,
You ever
man.
seen
I
that
don't
one?
think anybody ever watched past Major League 1. If I'm
You're
being completely honest.
tripping. Oh man, are you even a baseball fan, dude? Because those are 3 of the best all-time top 10
I'm gonna be honest.
baseball movies.
Obviously, I knew about 1 and 2. I never knew there was a part 3. But
Oh yeah, most people don't.
so-
It's like Sandlot 2. Like nobody knows it was existed.
yeah, that was terrible. So what I was saying though is, number one, is Matt Cardona not named Matt Cardona in WWE now?
His name is Zack Ryder.
I'm pretty sure he wrestles as Matt Card. If you want to just check that real
What?
quick, I'm pretty positive he.
I'll look again, but I'm almost.
And what he came back for the Cena Classic as Zack Ryder, but then he's returned full time as Matt Cardona.
Are you sure? I thought it was the opposite, bro.
I'm pretty positive.
Let me see. Superstars. Jeremy. No, not that. All right. What the hell?
In 3, 2, 1. Holy shit, Max, you're right. I'm so wrong, like always. Here it comes.
Uh-oh. I think you might be right, because that did not come up.
Yep, see? Mm-hmm.
Okay, there's
So Mario's showing you why I'm right about Matt Cardona being Matt Cardona. The other thing is was he hired because of what he did on the indies, or was he hired because one of the top women's talent is his wife?
No, that's if it was that Mario has it backwards. Correct. Okay, yeah. No, I found it on here too.
I lean towards the latter, that Chelsea Green. This is a favor hire for Chelsea Green, who is undoubtedly, I think, Mario, you would agree, one of the hottest, and I mean physically and momentum wise, female wrestlers on the roster right now. I mean, she's riding the wave right now. Now here's what I gotta say to you, right? Like, there's all this about, being stuck at a certain and not being able to be the guy. The head of creative, the head booker, was never the top guy in any era. He may have had a million fucking world title reigns, but he was never the guy. He was a solid number 2, number 3 at best, and that's Triple H. So wouldn't you think that if anybody was to understand that, it would be one Hunter Hearst Helmsley? Known now as Paul Levesque?
No, I don't. Because and I'm thank you for asking that, because that stands part to my point. Like, the reason I'm making this argument is not based on it's based on the fact that wrestling has changed, and it's changed huge. Brock Lesnar's retirement has made me realize something. And yesterday, shout out to Machine Gun Matt. Make sure you go and check out his show from yesterday, talking about radio on YouTube, where we talked about, is Brock Lesnar, has he surpassed Andre the Giant on the list of all time, biggest, most over heels, most believable heels, right? And we were having this conversation, and we started saying, bro, this is the end of an era, right? Brock Lesnar, first of all, worked in an era that was much tougher than Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant got to wrestle in front of mark-ass adults who actually believed it was real. And I'm not even trying to hate. I'm not trying to say, oh, you're dumb. Not at all. I'm just saying that is the case, right? People believed it more in his era than they do today. Lesnar had to get over in front of a crowd that knew kayfabe was dead, or in front of a crowd for which kayfabe was dead, right?
Right.
So then what's going to end up happening is it's going to get worse and worse and worse and worse. And so at this point, the only way anyone's going to be able to make buzz is through the WWE's very, very specific and crafted scripts, right? Danhausen didn't get the chance to become Danhausen, not at all. Danhausen was already Danhausen, and they saw how over he was. They saw what kind of marketing machine he could be, and so they brought him in. Now, if Danhausen is ever, hold on real quick, let me just finish this one part. If Danhausen ever is going to get to the world title picture, which he's not, but if he ever is, he'd have to first leave WWE again and reestablish himself as a higher star for them to bring in and then give a shot, just like one Cody Rhodes. Cody spent a lifetime in the WWE, and guess what? They said, we don't want you. Even though you are the son of a legend, we don't want you. And he left. He made himself bigger. He made himself a star, and they saw him now in another light as a potential champion under their spotlight. And so you could argue that Cody has set the precedent, but it's social media that is dictating how it works. It's WWE airtime that's dictating how it works. It's the fact that unlike when we were kids, where we knew if we wanted to watch wrestling, you had to be in front of your TV on a Monday and have it on Channel USA, whatever that was on. Today, you're watching on Netflix, right? And you can watch whenever. So it's not as big of a priority.
You didn't even got to watch. You just go on social media.
So much gets missed. Sure. And social media is where you're going to watch it too. So if you're going to capitalize on anything and you are going to elevate your spot, it's going to have to be outside of the parameters of WWE. Do you not believe, or do you not at least agree with that part? Matt, such a dick.
No, I don't, because Mario, like, genuinely, man, like, there's just people like that for me, and this is just me, you know, again, I obviously, look, I watch AEW from time to time. Like, I love MJF. Obviously, they got some talent over there, right? But, like, when we're talking about, because again, that's why I say we're talking about to be a WWE top guy, right? It's just, it's you have to, you know, they call it the it factor, and that's a real thing, man. Like, a lot of y'all love Daniel Bryan, right? Bryan Danielson, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Sure.
Love the guy, right? And nobody's going to argue that he's probably one of the best on the mat wrestlers we've ever seen, right? Like, technician. Like, for someone like me, I never thought he was the guy. Like, you know, he's
Sure.
never struck.
I mean, he was though, right? He was.
Was he though? Like,
the data and the, well, I mean, listen, he moved. If we're going to the same parameters that we used for Roman, then yes, he was.
That's my next point, though. He wasn't, because, again, what I mentioned in the comments too is sustainability, right? LA Knight was probably as over as anybody in the last 10 years, right? Not able to sustain it. Danhausen is already starting to be unsustainable, right? And that's another point towards your credit. Mario, when Danhausen first debuted, everybody thought it sucked. It was flat, no crowd reaction. It was like, oh shit, this is DOA, right? I mean, we sat here on this show and talked about how, wow, what a shit debut that was. And a week later, it just, you know, catches fire. There just has to be an appeal, and there has to be an understanding of WWE has this understanding, Mario. The median age of the average viewer of professional wrestling, at least from a television standpoint, do you know what that age is?
I don't, but I mean, do you want me to guess? I could try to take an educated guess.
Take a guess, and I'll give you the number.
Okay, so I'd say boxing is probably around like 54. So I'd separate it as like 44. So I'd say like maybe 32.
The median age for professional wrestling viewers by data is 52 years old.
Wow, I'm very surprised at that.
Do you know what
that's where I put boxing at, and I figured there's no way it was as low as that. I was originally going to say 40, just off the top of my head when you first asked.
So,
but then I was trying to do math.
What is the indicator to that to you of just natural evolution of life?
I'm sorry, repeat the question.
So what would that indicate to you from a business standpoint? If I'm looking for a long-term business,
okay,
and the median age of my audience that I'm trying to sustain over long periods of time is in their mid-50s nearly, that means your audience is starting to die off.
yeah, I would say that you wouldn't be appealing to them, and you'd be doing everything you could to appeal to a younger generation of fans. That's what
And
I'd assume any business person,
right.
you know,
And
would
so
do.
so right now, who do the young kids really latch onto, right? They like Roman looks cool as shit, right? Obviously there's Cody. Um, who else is a name though that like Danhausen, right? Parents
Sure,
are
that's the
buying this
thing, though.
Danhausen shit, but like, and I wouldn't consider him like who they're gonna hitch the wagon to, right? But like,
Sure.
is like is Braun a guy that you can look to the future? Like Dom,
Yeah, I think so.
like we all pan the Dom Ryan Garcia thing, right? But like I've told y'all, he's always like on Chico's Toxicos, which is like huge with like the teenage
I know.
to early 20 crowd. So he's got like a huge following from that demographic.
Sure.
And I think what you're saying too, look, there is a validity to it, right? You can leave and come back and do better. We've seen plenty of people do it. We've also seen plenty of people fail at it.
Sure.
You know,
Here's the thing, right? Real quick, because I'm hearing you talk and I'm hearing what you're saying, and it's like, okay, let me ask you this. Is the potential for failure a reason not to do Border Wars?
no, but see,
No,
that's
of
what I
course
mean
not,
though,
right?
is like,
Wait,
but
real,
also,
real quick. Let me take
but
you back.
how soon,
Go ahead.
how
No, go ahead.
soon do you think somebody gets like Mario? Realistically, there's only what, 4 spots, and then nobody's getting the Roman spot, right? And we would
Okay,
argue,
sure.
we would
Let's put
argue
it this
that
way.
that
Let's
next
put
in
it this way,
line for
real
that.
quick. Let's put it this
Go
way,
ahead.
real quick. We're making a Texas title in Border Wars. All right, we're
Mhm.
making it today. Ness said I could have it. I mean, Ness said I can make it, but he said it had to be all the guys that have already fought from Texas in Border Wars. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay, I have you, or I have me, and I have fuck, who's somebody that sucked that was from Texas?
Machine Gun Matt.
That's so fucked up. Don't do that. Okay, you know what? Let's say Machine Gun Matt with a broken leg. Let's say Matt has a broken leg, but he still has to compete. And so everybody
He laughed at
obviously
that, by the way, wherever he's listening from. He laughed.
did he. So Machine Gun Matt with a broken leg, he's in it, right? And we're all in it. Okay. I have no chance of beating Marvin. And Matt has no chance with a broken leg of beating Marvin. And I exclude you, right? You probably exist as the person that has the best shot within the first minute, I'd say. So let me ask you, if you're excluded, how do you win? How are you the best to win? You're not, right? I'm the best to win because I'm actually in it, right? I'm actually in this tournament and I'm actually getting my shot. That doesn't mean that I'm the best. And here's the thing, I'll put it in a different way too. High school baseball, high school football, whatever you want to use, or let's use baseball. So I'm a kid that's playing high school baseball, right? And I'm a freshman. And I am good, but not great. Certainly not as good as the 17 and 18-year-olds that occupy the varsity team. And so they say, hey, man, you're good enough to play, and you're good enough to get a pinch hit. You're good enough to pinch run. Maybe in a blowout, we'll bring you in to pitch an inning or maybe an out or two, right? Who would you rather be? The kid that's going to get 3 at bats for the season and maybe like an inning 0.2 of work? Or would you say, I'm going to go to JV though, so I can get some everyday playing time? And then you can get 50 plus at bats in the season, right? Pitch somewhere like 50 to 75 innings, right? Or maybe that's way too much, but like 25 to 50 innings, whatever. You would take the route that gives you the most opportunity, right?
Yeah, I see. So I love that you brought that up, right? Because I was that guy, and I have coached several of those guys. Me personally, though, Mario.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead and make yourself look dumb, and pick the other one just to try to get.
No. This is.
I know you're lying if you say that.
Reality, because this is reality, because that's, and you know me well enough to know that I'm not bullshit when I tell you I'm the like in real life, I'm one of the most self-confident, almost to a fault, people that
Sure.
you're ever going to meet.
Okay.
Like almost in a sense of overly confident, right? Like I'm,
Understood.
especially on my strong suits.
Okay.
So that goes back to my John Cena thing, right? John Cena. So what I would say too is I
I
was
don't
the
think I
guy
get
that
the
took.
point you're making.
Hold on. So let me go back. My bad. I kind of skipped over what I was gonna say. I chose to take my one opportunity, my one or two or three at bats, because I believed in those three at bats. I was gonna show you why I need 5 at bats, 7 at bats. So I'm gonna force you to give me more and give me more and give me more. I'm not going to, and this is just me as a personality. I'm not going to settle for, yeah, let me just go in JV and be the best guy on JV. Now that's just me, right? I was, I was a kid who played lineman in Tiger League, which is like Pee Wee football, and knew I had a better arm than everybody. And come 7th grade, I said, just let me throw the ball. And by the time the season started, I was a starting quarterback.
All right.
That's me.
Kids,
So
if
now,
you are
hold on.
listening,
Now let me correlate this into John Cena real quick, Mario. We'll go back to wrestling. Let me steer the shit back, right? Because I can blow myself all day. I will never get tired. John Cena did have opportunities to go back to OVW, to rebrand again, maybe try as a prototype, but instead, and he's this is gonna sound like bullshit to a lot of people because that's the WWE answer, but it's true. He's living proof of you make the best of the little opportunities you get. Everybody talks about the Kurt Angle thing. What about the rap things? When Jay-Z no-showed WrestleMania 19, where he was supposed to battle rap, they were trying to get him to battle rap. He battle raps cardboard. You make those opportunities within the WWE. There's still opportunities there to be made.
there's
You
not.
have to make
There's
the most
not,
of them.
though.
Say,
No, there's not. They dictate the
if I
opportunities.
give you,
The script lists more today than ever before because, Mex, let me tell you, remember, Stone Cold wasn't Stone Cold at that King of the Ring. And yet they allowed him at the end of the show to go out there and basically like kind of disrespect the Bible. I mean, I don't think it was, but I definitely think that it was close
so
enough
let me
that
ask you
people
though,
would have
Mario.
taken that. But
How
real quick,
much?
who gets that opportunity today? Who gets that opportunity today? Nobody. Nobody
How much?
gets that opportunity
How much
today.
time? No. But see, this is what you're overlooking. How much time was that promo? How long was that promo?
I don't remember, but it was definitely longer
Maybe
than they normally are, which stands to my point as well.
was
Wrestling's
it or
changed too much. I remember it being like 5
was it
fucking minutes.
was it really? Because I think if
Wasn't
we've
it?
all watched it, when he walks up to Michael Hayes, says what he says, it's 30 seconds to a minute, Mario. In
There's
that
no way.
little
There's no way.
I promise you it's not that
I'm
long.
gonna look it up.
I promise you, from the time he walks on the steps, starts speaking to says what he says, it's maybe a minute and a half max. And of that minute and a half max, we remember the last 15 seconds. Talk about your Psalms, talk about your John 3:16s. Austin 3:16 says, I just whipped your ass. It's about being organic.
I'm trying to find it.
Point being, though, Mario, is you've got to make everything out of the little moments. You got to crawl before you walk, is what I'm saying.
Understood. Okay, I get the point you're making. However, this is the problem with it, right? And I love that we're using, so we have to use high school only, right? Because it doesn't work with college or really even the pros. It only works in this way with high school because there is a JV varsity, right? Whereas with the WWE and what the argument I'm trying to make, it's either varsity or JV, and JV only exists as outside of the company, right? Because again, NXT scripted to a T, AAA, it's only going to let you get so far. So let me make this point, right? And specifically with baseball, you shouldn't have made that choice unless you were like a senior and you were going to make JV. You just should have never made that choice. And here's the reason why. There is they've done the math. for rookies who are brought onto the team at some point and to get playing time. Like if you remember Justin Duran, or is it Justin Duran from the Red Sox, right? A couple of seasons ago, he was basically a rookie that they brought up, fucking, sat the bench, and then he got a shot and he hit. And then a few days later, they gave him another shot and he got another hit. And then they let him start a couple days later and he went like 3 for 4. And so it kept on and kept on and kept on. And that's the road you're talking about. And that happens like, I think it was like 2 point something percent in the history of the world. But again, we're talking about like professional ballers who are already at a certain level. At the end of the day, for you to put that much pressure on yourself to say, I'm going to get one at bat a day, or one at bat a month, or one at bat every couple weeks, versus the idea of you being able to go down to JV and get the pitching time, right? You're not as good as you are ever. There's never a time where anyone is good as they is as good as they can be, right? Roman can be better or stronger, bigger, right? John Cena could be funnier or whatever. Everybody has, to a degree, the ability to control how well they develop. So when you are in a position like a JV or a AA or a single A or the G League or NXT or whatever, you're in a position where you're getting the reps to develop that you would not otherwise get. So then my point that I'm making as it relates to playing time versus varsity is not the idea that I'm the package. This is me, Seth Rollins. Give me my shot on varsity. I'll patiently wait on the bench and allow you to dictate when my turn is up and how many of those turns I get, whether as opposed to saying, I'm going to go somewhere and I'm going to perform at a level that makes them pay attention. Otherwise, you're real quick. Otherwise, you're gambling on a 1 in a fucking trillion, because it's like 2 point something percent. I think they had done like, oh man, I want to say it was like 3,000 hitters, or maybe a little less than that. It was definitely over 1,000 for sure that they used. And so in those scenarios, again, like Mike Trout at 20 years old, 21 years old was not as good as Mike Trout at 28 years old, right? Sure. Supermax at 12 years old wasn't as good as he was at 16 years old. And at the end of the day, Supermax that would have, or Mario that would have gotten to play every day, every game, would have been the best version of himself at the end of high school, at the end of his baseball career, right? So again, it's like, do I have the ability to play at the varsity level on 3A or 4A or 5A? And that answer might be yes, but am I more? Am I more than just the guy that gets to prove himself? And if I say yes, then it's about challenging myself every day, right? Think about it in the opposite way. If you said, I'm a great boxer and I shouldn't be fighting D-level fighters. I should be fighting A and B-level fighters. And I'm going to wait for those opportunities. You would never get better, not sparring, not getting those matchups in, not developing past what you're going to be. So to say this version of me is set and ready to go, that's great. And that belief is strong and it's awesome. It's the kind of belief you need. But you know what a bigger belief is? You know what a bigger faith is? Having the faith in yourself to take that gamble and say, you know what? I am going to leave the Boxing Voice and start my own show, right? Or I am going to stop at my truck, stop working for these people that I work in a truck, and I'm going to start my own business and then get my own fleet of trucks, right? That gamble on yourself. Seth Rollins saying, I'm just going to sit here and wait for my opportunity. It's not a gamble. That you taking a route that demands very little and has a very small chance of succeeding. Whereas opposed to you saying, no, I'm going to roll up my stake that these people clearly undervalue, and I'm going to show them that I'm better. And the way that I'm going to do it is by not just getting the opportunities in front of people, but also having the ability to explore different aspects of a character. Maybe goth Seth Rollins would get super over. Maybe like leaning super hard into like a racist Spanish stereotype for Damian Priest would get over. Maybe Otis and Tozawa would be the hottest tag team ever in the history of the world if they pretended to be kidnapped by aliens and come back and be aliens. Again, I'm not suggesting any of those things are true. What I am saying is that those things cannot happen under the restrictions of WWE.
So let's go back to the Because you know what? You triggered something to me with this varsity JV analogy, right?
I knew it, bro. I swear to God. I was like, I bet I wrote it down. I was like, I bet he's going to turn it into this argument. Go ahead. Because
So no, because
this should be this argument, because this argument works
so
as a metaphor.
It's relatable. It's relatable, right? It's super relatable.
It is.
So again, right? I was the guy who said I'm gonna stay on varsity and take the chances I get me, and it turned into something very well, right? Now, Mario, I know you were a good baseball player. I know you even made it to the college level, correct? How many guys, firsthand that you saw and knew about, were great freshman ball guys, kick-ass JV guys, right? Whether it's baseball, football, whatever it may be. Then you get to varsity. You get to Friday night, right? Where you and I both know varsity is just a different speed, a different level, right? That's the same concept here. There's TNA, there's whatever indie, GCW, right? AAA, even NXT. But when you get to that main WWE roster, the speed of the game is different. It's different. And not everybody the perfect example Matt brought up was like Tommaso Ciampa, guys like that. A lot of these guys who were just killers in NXT, right? The guys, and they get to the main roster, and the lights are too bright. Edgar Berlanga in boxing was a beast, knocking everybody the fuck out. Developed 20 fights. Sometimes overdevelopment is a thing, right? 20 no KO streak, jumps straight into Canelo, gets, has a decent performance, looks like he made a name for himself in a loss, turns around and gets starched against Hamza Shiraz, and just already looks like a shell of himself. There's different factors for everything. So what I'm saying is it comes down to like it's this thing, Mario, that I just don't feel like can be given or taken. Sometimes it's just a gift. Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart, right? We have this debate for years. You think Bret is the greatest technical wrestler, and a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people feel like Shawn Michaels is the greatest in-ring performer ever. Were they ever? And I'm not talking about were they the top guy at the time. I'm talking about are they considered the top guys of the business historically? Are they on the level of the Hulk Hogans, the John Cenas, the Roman Reigns, the Rocks, Steve Austin? I don't think they are. So, but is there anything wrong with being Bret Hart, Mario? Like, in your opinion?
No.
I know
absolutely
you.
Not.
Like, and that's the thing about it, right? Like, how long did it?
I don't think Seth or anyone should be saying.
Well, but what
like,
I mean is, what I'm saying is, like, Bret was what, like a tag guy, right? And then he had like a weird exchange in his first title run, and it came back to him. You know what I mean? These opportunities come and go. Sometimes they work, sometimes I just think personally
they did come and go. That's the only part that I feel like you keep forgetting is my argument is they did come and go. So I don't disagree with anything you said at all. I think it's a great point. I don't think that it stands against my point at all, because again, I'm saying that, like, again, in fact, that's probably the best way to go through it. And this is probably the way I should have gone to it, is saying that there was a time in wrestling where biding your time would be the thing that eventually got you the shot. As long as you were loyal, as long as you were there and solid, you didn't make waves, you didn't talk shit, you didn't get in trouble outside. As long as you were that guy, there was a good chance at some point they would give you an opportunity. And maybe that opportunity wasn't a big title match, right? It was something, it was anything. You had Rikishi, a guy who was one of the Fatus, right, in the Head Shrinkers. He was some weird, like, don't do
the
drugs
Sultan
urban character. He was the Sultan. He was a bunch of different characters, but then he became Rikishi, and Rikishi was a big swing, dude, right? I think it was a huge swing. You're talking about a fucking big dude wearing a thong. And so the fact that he was able to take that swing was big, and it got him over to the level that he did, which was higher than the level he had before. You're right. Not everybody makes that top level, but everybody can elevate, right? Everybody can't, because there is a Grand Canyon sized gap between the Roman Reigns, the Cody Rhodes, the CM Punks of the world, and everyone else, literally everyone else.
And there
right?
should be, though.
There
Like,
should
that's
be.
what
There
makes
should be.
them
So
special.
then, but what that means is that there are rungs that you can get up, right? So like if Danhausen believes he can be more, right? The only way he's going to be able to be more is outside of WWE. And the only way he was able to be Danhausen is outside of WWE. He would have never been able to be Danhausen inside. Nobody would have ever, he couldn't have come to them and say, I got this, let me pitch you this gimmick. All right. Oh, you're cursed. Like that would have never worked. But guess what? He was able to do it on the indies. He moved a bunch of merch himself, and they said, oh shit, we could capitalize on this.
Nope.
That's what happened.
No, that's not what happened.
No. What, I don't understand.
Who brought Danhausen into the WWE?
The WWE did.
No, they didn't. It was, see, that's another thing, right? It's all about networking. This is real life. It's about who you know and what you know. Who was the number one advocate? Who was pushing for Danhausen?
Well, yeah, the CM Punk, and I think he had Cody Rhodes mention his name on the podcast before he got signed.
But see, that's also something. Some people got the top guys got to put you on. That's how things work. People, it's not just about, like, as much as we want to say it is, it's not always just about the fans. And I'll say this, Mario,
you couldn't possibly be arguing that Danhausen's work outside was
it wasn't enough to get him up. It wasn't enough to get him in. No, it wasn't.
But hold on. But
did it help?
Certainly, hold on. Certainly, you wouldn't suggest that Punk or Cody's word alone would have been enough.
No. So that's what I said. His work outside of WWE wasn't enough.
Sure.
Without that,
he needed a rub for Punk and Cody, right? Hold on. He needed a rub for Punk or Cody, right? And then vice versa. Punk and Cody had to see good work for them to offer, because they're not going to just suggest anybody. So again, this all comes down to one simple fact that both of your points have in common is that Danhausen was able to showcase his ability in a way he would not been able to done on WWE. That kind of character is a huge swing. Let me ask you this. Do you think they would just sign Orange Cassidy?
No. But see, that's the thing, Mario.
If Orange Cassidy was selling like Danhausen and CM Punk came up and said, hey, y'all should sign Orange Cassidy, they still wouldn't sign him?
So here's the thing, right?
There you go. See, that's
what here's the point. Here's the point to it. No. I'm about to fill it for you. What is the one notorious, especially right now in the WWE, what is the notorious thing they're known for as far as hiring practices are concerned? Nepotism.
What? Oh, sure. I mean, that's like a lot of places, but yeah.
Okay. Say what you want about Cody, right? He went and did all this shit on his own. Who was one of Triple H's closest allies and role models?
William Regal? I don't know who. During the NXT years?
Cody Rhodes' father, Dusty Rhodes.
Sure, but that was true when they fired him.
Who fired him? Did Triple H fire him?
No, the company WWE fired him.
Right. No. Actually, Cody quit. Let's
is that
keep
what
that correct? Yeah, he asked for his release.
I swear to God, I remember
he asked for his release.
No, I'm telling you right now, I'm from a different universe. I somehow got into this one because from the universe that I'm from, he got cut. Or he didn't get cut. They didn't renew his contract, I thought.
He asked for his release.
Listen, your memory is 1,000 times better than mine. So I'm gonna literally. I don't normally do this.
This is where in the show we need
believe you.
This is where in the show, Mario, we need that soundbite. We need that soundbite from Half Baked. You remember what I'm talking about? Where it's like marijuana affects the memory.
Oh yeah.
We need that soundbite.
Marijuana affects the brain.
You need that sound. I'm gonna tell Matt to make that for you and for him. You need to make that for your show, bro. That's gonna come in handy here, and we'll send it over to Ness too because he needs it. Shout out to Hormonal Inbounds. I'm not letting that go. Anyways, nepotism is a thing, Mario. Like, it's a favor, right? Like it's a long history. So you brought up something very interesting though just a second ago. You said it used to be if you sat out right and just stayed patient, didn't create no waves, didn't do XYZ, you'd get your opportunity, right?
Sure.
Didn't
not
that just
always,
happen?
With who?
It happened again, actually, to the same person, Sami Zayn.
Yeah, and he's a product of long time loyalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely. And so what my premise is that today's WWE has changed. Today's wrestling landscape has changed. Sami Zayn won't be afforded those opportunities. Or I'm sorry, I'm saying there won't be another Sami Zayn that will be afforded those opportunities in that kind of way because
will they though? I mean, we
here's
thought,
the thing. If they have the success of a Sami Zayn where he ends up like being in the bloodline and being with Roman and getting over massively, then sure, but that's a rare spot than the top spot. You know what I mean? Letting the big guy have you along as a fish eater, that doesn't happen anymore, champ. Because guess what? Kairi Sane got cut. Sheamus got cut. New Day got cut. Nobody is safe on that chopping block.
But what does that mean? Like, well, see, this is what I hate when y'all do this about, oh my God, like Kairi Sane, don't miss her, okay? Sheamus, my God, the New Day, goddamn, how long?
Yeah, they didn't get any opportunities. That's why you don't miss them.
That's
why you don't miss
ridiculous.
them. You didn't get to see Kairi Sane very much. You didn't get to see New Day in the role after they turned heel and were the hottest thing on wrestling by far. You didn't get to see them capitalize on it.
Hold on. New Day and Sheamus didn't get opportunities.
No, they got opportunities.
They never
gain.
They
heat,
never.
And then
they never got opportunities. Sheamus didn't get put over by Triple H at a WrestleMania and got put over by John Cena.
He lost the match. He didn't win the match. He lost the match. Yeah, that was a great opportunity that he got. Sure, absolutely.
He also beat John Cena during the golden shovel era of John Cena.
Again, I'm saying this. The times have changed. So while that was something you're right, but Sheamus's career exists as the perfect example. There'll never be another Sheamus. Never. No one will ever come in and beat the John Cena of the world.
Do you want these guys to be there? Is what I'm saying. People are like, oh my God, they're getting cut. That's what happens, bro. People get cut in professionals because pro wrestling is a professional sport.
But you're making my point, though. You're making my point. Because you're saying how long do you expect them to to be around? I don't. I expect them to get tired of it, right? I expect them to be the ones to say, hey, you know what? I've been here too long, or I'm stale. I got to go somewhere else and make it happen. The idea that WWE exists as this ultimate opportunity place isn't the truth. It exists as a place where the opportunity is a high limit. Hold on real quick. It exists as a place where the opportunity is as high as the sky, right? But it doesn't exist as a space where people get opportunities straight out. So yes, there's a cap on AEW, TNA, all these other places as big as you can get, but there's a freedom. And you know who shows that? Lio Rush. You think Lio Rush would have been allowed to do the Lio Rush thing?
But who is he making an impact for? That goes back to Matt's original point, is that's stuff for indie fans. Kenny Omega could be a much bigger star.
My point is you're playing Monday morning quarterback. Danhausen is what you would have used as an example 5 years ago as a guy that never be on WWE TV. And at the end of the day,
Danhausen,
and look at you talking about Orange Cassidy. And watch in 5 years when they sign Orange Cassidy to a deal simply to just fucking probably railroad him and sell a bunch of shirts to a gimmick that.
So no, wait. So again, because my point was nepotism and who Danhausen knows helped him get hired, and he has an appeal.
He's not related to anybody, champ. He's not related to anybody. What are you talking about?
I said, and knowing who you know, networking, that's helped him. Right now, let's say you've
already admitted that it comes first from the work, because Cody and Punk have to tell. They're not just saying, "Hey, hire this dude," and they're like, "Oh, fuck yeah, all right." Cody and Punk are the new hiring people. No way, that's not how it works.
I genuinely believe that happens because they didn't hire Matt Cardona back because of his work.
That's crazy.
They don't hire guys like Matt Cardona back because of their work.
Yeah,
Matt
but
Cardona
they
is there
also
because of
don't
his
put
wife.
people straight to WWE, right? And here's where your examples
They
just
don't.
flat
They
dead,
don't.
right?
They don't. Hold on. They
You
don't
had
people.
Ricky
They don't
Saints. Hold
put
on. You
people.
had Ricky Saints, who is Cody's fucking guy, his handpicked guy, his homegrown guy. And they said, get your ass to NXT and do the Scott Hall shit. Show the fans you could be more than just the bogus Rock. So then this idea that Danhausen, with a gimmick that you would have 5 years said is too indie for WWE, now gets the fucking main stage,
No. See
gets
that.
a main gets a main PLE
Because
debut,
I'm
and
not
you're
gonna let you
saying
do
that
that.
Punk just gave it to him? No
I'm not
way.
gonna let you do that because nobody would say that Danhausen is indie gimmick. What Danhausen is doing and proving was
Wow, that's it.
who are the
Bad
biggest
faith.
fans.
Bad faith.
Who are the biggest fans? Who is buying the most merch for Danhausen? Who's the biggest appeal? Is what I said earlier. Kids.
the IWC.
The kids.
Oh, champ. No. See, you caught on
There's
to him too
no.
late. It was the emo, like, okay, when you say kids, you're talking about like what? Like, are you talking about
Like kids,
children?
like
Because if you're saying like
yes,
21,
like children.
24.
No. I'm saying children.
No, dude. No, not
Children.
even close, dude. Not even close. Not
There's
even
no
close.
appeal.
Danhausen's gimmick
There's
was
no appeal to anybody that's not just an absolute wrestling nerd to
No.
Danhausen
That
unless
is
you're
absolutely
entertained from a child.
that is absolutely not true. See, you don't realize
He's a
how many
comedy act,
fans
right? So now you bring up Orange Cassidy. Mario, he wasn't even on AEW that much.
But hold on. I don't
How
care
much
to have a
did you-
debate. Hold on, real quick. I don't have a
Hold on,
care to
'cause-
debate Orange
'cause how
Cassidy's
much
gimmick.
did-
What
how
I'm
much-
telling you is that there were a 4-team guys that were thought they were called. You know what they were called? They were called, unlike the 4 Horsemen, they were called the 4-play Horsemen. That's what they were called. They were an IWC staple that were over with the neckbeards, as you call them. Danhausen was one of those gimmicks. He would stop everything and he would literally play the Pee Wee Herman song and freeze everyone in the ring. So maybe, just maybe, you caught on to Danhausen a little late and you didn't see the stuff that he was doing that was getting him over, because no, kids were not. I mean, yeah, sure, there's some kids, but kids weren't finding Danhausen.
It's indie stuff. That
What do you
stuff
mean
was
it's indie
indie stuff. The stuff you just
Yeah,
mentioned,
done
of course,
by
I
an
didn't hear
indie
because
character.
it's indie.
Done by a character that could only
And
do that
now-
on the indies.
And now this character, this is not the same Danhausen that got shelved in AEW. This is a Danhausen that is
You know what it feels like? It feels like you're trying to argue that Coca-Cola invented Poppy when all they did was buy them out.
I'm not saying they
idea that
invented,
somehow
but see that they've made an alter shit,
again,
right? Like, so
sure,
that's
absolutely.
actually
They
a good
toned
example,
shit
though.
down. They turned the
Coca-Cola
volume
didn't
down.
invent. And they, just like Coca-Cola didn't invent pop, they got behind it and they took over the promotion of it, right? The pushing of it, and now it's more popular than ever. That's what exactly. WWE did not create Danhausen. They did not invent Danhausen
than ever. But the thing hasn't changed. It's a marketing thing, right? I mean, not a marketing. It's a scale thing, right? So Coca-Cola can raise the profile of Poppy, absolutely. But that's not even close to the argument we're making. The argument we're making is that Poppy doesn't get bought out. Poppy doesn't get bought out without first becoming Poppy. They got to sell all these units. They got to become a brand. They have to market themselves. You realize that Danhausen was selling like toys. He was selling plushes. He was selling coasters. He was already a marketing like
that. But what I'm saying is,
they wouldn't have brought him up if he wasn't that guy. They wouldn't have brought him straight to the WWE like that.
But he's not there to wrestle.
True.
Like, oh, did we freeze?
No, you're good.
Danhausen isn't there to wrestle, Mario. He's there to be this character. He's essentially taking the baton from R-Truth, where he can wrestle from time to time, but he's gonna be this gimmick. That's not the same as trying to be a top guy wrestler.
Yeah, I get that. I do. I get that. It's definitely not the same. And that's why I keep saying it's more about elevating whatever stage you're at. Like, I don't want to get lost in this conversation where we're talking about who can occupy the top spot. This isn't a thing where I'm saying, oh, if Danhausen wants to be the world heavyweight champion, then he's got to leave WWE because that's the only way.
But see,
yes,
this
I'm
is what I
making
don't
that
get is
point.
but
the only reason why I'm making that point is
what
because he
elevation
exists
do you
as what he
think-
exists as in WWE right now. He's handcuffed, and today wrestlers exist handcuffed in a harder time, in a more restrictive time, creatively speaking. Max is there? I think there might have been a dead spot he dropped into because there was like some sort of time delay. Champ, can you hear me? If not, if you can hear me, jump out and jump back in, or I'm gonna kick you because then hopefully if you can't hear me, then you'll just know to come back in. Listen, at the end of the day, I think that my point honestly, Mex keeps making my point. I think, and the idea is that there were times and there are moments we can point to, data we could use that supports the idea that wrestling, specifically in WWE, allowed for creativity to put you over, right? The Stone Colds we've talked about, and even like the Brock Lesnar's of the world. You think that there's ever going to be another Brock Lesnar, a guy that blurs the line between kayfabe and not kayfabe? No, that's never going to happen. It's not going to be a thing. And so if we're going to ultimately make a case for it, it's got to be the idea that today's wrestling landscape is big enough that you can create yourself a very, very strong profile outside of the WWE. It's like music, right? And this is the fucking argument I should have used with Mex. It's like music, because there used to exist a time where if you didn't have a major label, that was it. You're done. You're done. You don't have a career that can get to the highest stage in the world. That doesn't exist today. That is not how the music industry exists today. Today, it exists in a way that you can make it on your own. Maybe not completely on your own, but in terms of staying independent and not having to sign to a major label, right? You can do things on SoundCloud, which I'm assuming is still a thing. TikTok obviously is a big place to drive. And you look at Drake, who just got out of his big deal. And so ultimately, I don't think that there is a landscape in which all of this changed overnight. I do think that